Today is our fourth time of reading together, and I'm very excited for today because we are going to read some more challenging books. And I hope everyone will be more willing to raise their hands and volunteer to read. First, I would like to begin by talking about why reading is important. First, reading is important because it can help develop your mind. Because when you are reading, you are trying to understand this piece of reading passage. And by understanding this piece of reading passage, you can actually help develop your mind. Reading can also help you gain more knowledge because when you are reading, especially when you are reading a nonfiction book, you may learn something that you never knew about. And finally, reading can also improve your writing skills because when you are reading, you are actually reading a writing piece written by somebody else. And by reading another person's writing piece, you can learn about how they write and you can improve your own writing skills. Now let's take a look at the books we are going to read today. We have 5 books and we will try our best to read all of them if time permits. The first book we will be reading today is called Inside the Puppet Theater. The second book is called How to Be a Pirate and 10 Easy Stages. The third book is about Why Can't Humans Fly? And the fourth book is about The Amazing Adventures of Fatbird. And the fifth book, the final book, is called I'm Growing a Truck in the Garden. Most of these books are nonfiction, so hopefully everyone will learn a lot after we read these books. Now let's begin reading. The first book we are going to read is called Inside the Puppet Theater. This book is a nonfiction book, which means it contains real facts and true statements. This book can teach us about the different types of puppets and the jobs people have at the puppet theater. This book is also very interesting with lots of photographs and also lots of diagrams about the different types of puppets. All right, now I will stop sharing that screen and I will open up the book and share it. All right. Can everyone see inside the puppet theater? Good. Okay, so this book is called Inside the Puppet Theater and it is written by Clara Llewellyn and the pictures are taken by Veronica Lepot. All right. Does anyone want to volunteer to read? Rana. So you can read as much as you want of this book. And if you don't want to read or if you want to stop, you can just let me know.
Okay, meet Ronnie. My name is Ronnie and I'm a puppeteer. A puppeteer works with puppets and puts on puppet shows. I usually work in a puppet theater, but you see puppets in other places too, in schools, on television, and even by the sea. Puppets by the sea, puppets at school.
Okay.
The puppet theater. This is the puppet theater when I work. It's in an old place with steep wooden staircases and tiny rooms. This is the outside of the theater. This is the box office where you buy your ticket. There is a small, simple stage. Puppeteers often stand above the stage on a platform called the bridge. This is where the audience is, the bridge. All sorts of characters. There are puppets everywhere. They sit on shelves, hang from rails and lie curled up on boxes. Puppets sitting on a shelf, puppets hanging on rails. Every puppet has a different character. There are poor children, kings, and weak stepmothers. There are giants and other make-believe characters. There are monkeys, mice, lizards, giraffes, cats, animals of every kind. Billy, a boy puppet. A mouse puppet. String and rod puppets. Puppets work in different ways. This is a string puppet. Most of its body is made of wood. There are joints at its neck, its elbow, and so on. These are the parts of the puppet that move when I pull on the strings. A bear string puppet. String, neck, shoulder, elbow, wrist, knee, ankle. Hansel, a finished string puppet. This is a rod puppet. The long rods move the arms on the head. There are no rods to move the legs or feet. A rod puppet of a monkey. Glove and shadow puppets. This is a glove puppet. You wear it on your hand like a glove and move it with your fingers. Puppets like this get a lot of wear and tear, so they often need repairing. A glove puppet of a wizard. You hold your hand like this in a glove puppet. Shadow puppets are different from other puppets. You move them in front of a bright light and make shadows on the screen.
Sorry.
Making a puppet. Every new puppet is made in a workshop. It's a large, light room crammed with materials, paints, and tools. Designers sketch what the puppets should look like. Then a proper drawing is made and the puppet makers get to work. The workshop, a designer. First, the puppet makers carve each piece of the puppet. Next, they carve and paint its face. Then they make the soft parts of its body, and finally the clothes the puppet will wear. Carving the puppet, making the clothes. What should it move? Whenever I meet a new puppet, I study it, play around with it, and see what I can do. I think about the puppet's character and how it should move. Is it young and full of life? Then it will be light on its feet and flit around the stage. Is it large and heavy? Then it will move quite slowly. Slow and heavy, fast and light. A new show. Every few months, the puppet director puts on a new show. A team of people works together. The writer thinks about the story and works on the script. The designers plans what the stage and puppets will look like. Puppet makers began to work on the puppets. We rehearse for a week before the show opens. Everything has to work together: the set, the puppets, the light, the music. Everyone works hard until it all looks and sounds just right. The puppeteers plan how to move the puppets. The person in charge is called the director. The show opens. About an hour before the show, I change into my black clothes and check the puppets and props are ready. Soon I hear the audience arrive and can hear children talking and laughing. Then suddenly the lights go out. I take a deep breath and start the show. I wear black clothes so that you can only see the puppets in the show. Children enjoying the show.
All right. Thank you for reading, Rana. I think you read very fluently and precisely. I think you read very great. Also, I liked how you read the captions for the pictures. For instance, this is children enjoying the show is a caption for a picture. A caption describes what the picture is talking about or showing. So I liked how you read that. Great job, Rana. You read it great. All right, so that is the end of this book. I hope everyone enjoyed reading Inside the Puppet Theater. Now, I will share my screen again and we will take a look at the second book. All right. The next book we are going to read is called How to Be a Pirate and 10 Easy Stages. This book can give us information about how you can be a pirate. And while giving us information about how you can be a pirate, it also teaches us about pirates, such as about different kinds of pirates and how pirates behave. And it also teaches us the different parts of a pirate ship. When it comes to teaching us about the different parts of a pirate ship, I think this book did great because it used a lot of labels and diagrams to help us understand the specific different parts of a pirate ship. I think this book is very interesting, and I think you will enjoy this book a lot. All right, now I will open up this book and I will share my screen. All right, can everyone see? Great. All right, so this book is called How to Be a Pirate in 10 Easy Stages. It is written and illustrated by Scholar Anderson. So, does anyone want to read for us? Okay, Matthew Young, you may read. And when you want to stop, you can let me know.
Stage 1. What kind of pirate do you want to be? To help you decide, there are some famous pirates. A terrifying pirate. Blackbeard had a long beard which he tied with ribbons. A wild pirate. Anne Bonny had a terrible temper. A sneaky pirate. John Avery sailed off with the treasure belonging to other pirates. A gentleman pirate. Bartholomew Roberts loved fine clothes and only drank tea. A cunning pirate. Captain and Mrs. Cobham got up to all sorts of clever tricks. Stage 2. Wear the right clothes. Pirate captains often wore smart clothes. A tricorn hat, a silk waistcoat, lace cuffs, Cordoba boots with bucket tops. The sails of pirate ships were made of canvas. Ordinary pirates often had to use bits of canvas to make their clothes. When their ship was sailing, The crew had to climb around the rigging. To make this easy, they wore baggy clothes and took off their shoes. They wore earrings because they thought it made their eyesight better. Pirates usually plaited their hair in a pigtail. Then the pigtail was covered in flour and water to make it stiff. Pirates wore all sorts of hats and headgear. Canvas hat, Monmouth cap, scarf, Jacobin cap. Stage 3. Where to find your crew. The inns around harbors were full of sailors. Many wanted to be pirates because it seemed an exciting life. It was also very dangerous. Often when pirates attacked a ship, they forced the crew from that ship to join them as pirates. You're a pirate now, sir. Stage 4. What sort of ship do you need? Here are some ships that pirates liked. Luggers were small and fast. Cutters were even smaller. They could hide in narrow creeks and bays. Schooners were easy to sail. Brigs were bigger but could change direction quickly. Once you've got your ship, you'll need to know your way around.
Okay, so let's pause right there. So here is where it describes the different parts of a pirate ship. So go ahead, Matthew, you can start off by reading.
Mainmast, mizzenmast, rigging, all the ropes that moves the sails. Crow's nest, ratlines and shrouds. Pool deck, main deck, captain's cabin, rudder for steering the ship, hammocks for the crew to sleep in, gun deck, cannon, gaddy kitchen, bilge, orlop deck. Foremast, top gallant sail, the yard, topsail, mainsail, jib, the head's toilet, bowsprit, figurehead anchor,
All right. So that is the different parts of a pirate ship. All right, Matthew, you can continue reading.
Stage 5. Where to be a pirate. Pirates sailed everywhere, but their favorite place was the Caribbean Sea. North America, Atlantic Ocean, Cuba, Hispaniola, Jamaica, Caribbean Sea, Spanish Main, South America, UK, Europe, Spain, Africa, good places for pirates. Lots of ships passed through the Caribbean. They carried gold and silver from South America to Europe. The Caribbean was full of islands that were good hiding places for pirates. Ship ahoy! Barbecue is a Caribbean word. Pirates had barbecues while they waited for a ship to attack. Stage 6. Keep your crew happy. Food on board a pirate ship wasn't very nice. This is what pirates ate most of the time. Dried peas or oats. They were made into porridge. Ship's biscuits. They are full of weevils. Pirates tapped the biscuit on the table to get rid of the weevils before they ate the biscuit. Beef and pork. The meat was stored in barrels with lots of salt. The salt stopped the meat rotting. It also made the meat taste nasty. Beer or rum to drink. Water didn't keep very well. The pirates caught beer and rum grog. Once a week, the pirates had a day off. It was called a make and mend day. This was when pirates washed and mended their clothes or had a haircut. They were also allowed to dance and sing. They played musical instruments and games like cards and dice. Stage 7. Don't let the crew cause trouble. If pirates misbehaved on the ship, a pirate might get 40 lashes with the cat or 9 tails. The cat was a whip made with knotted ropes. The pirate might be put down in the bilges in the lowest, darkest part of the ship. It was very damp and smelly down there. The pirate's legs were tied to an iron bar called the bilboes. A pirate might get ducked at the yardarm. He would be tied to a rope and ducked in the sea several times. Stage 8. Fly the right flag. When the pirates spotted the ship, they tried to find out which country it came from. They're flying the Spanish flag, Captain. Then the pirates flew the same flag. This was a trick because it made the other ship think the pirates were friends. This allowed the ship to sail closer to its victim. They're friendly, sir. They're flying the Spanish flag. If the pirates flew a white flag, it means surrender. If they flew a red flag, it meant we're going to turn nasty. If they flew a black flag, it meant we're going to attack. The black flag was called the Jolly Roger. Sometimes it had a skull or skeleton painted on it. Stage 9. Attack. When the pirates attacked a ship, this is what they did. First, the cannons were fired. How to fire a cannon? Put a cartridge of gunpowder and a cannonball into the cannon. Push them right to the bottom of the cannon. Prick a hole in the cartridge. Light the gunpowder. Fire. Bang. Clean the inside of the cannon and start again. Then the pirates threw grappling irons. The irons caught hold of the ship. The pirates climbed up the ropes that were tied to the irons. They jumped over to the side of the ship. Like rope. They waved their pistols and cut glasses and made a terrifying noise. What to do with the treasure? There might be gold, silver, and precious stones on board the ship that had been attacked. There might be money. In those days, the money had names like doubloons, sequins, guineas, and pieces of 8. There might be cargo to sell, like fine clothes, spices, or china. Pirates didn't often bury their treasure on desert islands. They usually sailed to the nearest harbor to spend their money. Some pirates saved their money because even pirates wanted to live happily ever after. So, do you think you want to be a pirate?
All right, so that is the end of this book. Thank you, Matthew, for reading. I think you read very great. You also had a tone. There were some words like earlier, there were some onomatopoeia or sound words, and you read them with a tone and a feeling in your voice. So that's great. Overall, I think you read very excellent. Thank you for reading for us. Now I will share our slides again and we will take a look at the third book we are going to read. The third book we are going to read is called Why Can't Humans Fly? This book is a nonfiction book and it can inform us about why humans can't fly. And it can also give us answers to many other interesting animal-related questions. I think this book is a great book for everyone, but I think it is also very good for people who love animals and especially people who love to ask questions. So now I will open up the book. And I will share my screen. Why Can't Humans Fly? It is written by Sarah Fleming and illustrated by Wes Love. Does anyone want to volunteer to read? Rana?
Why can't humans fly? Sarah Fleming, West Love. Why can't humans fly? Birds are the right size and the shape to fly. Feathers, wings, hollow bones. This bird is too big to fly. Humans are not the shape or size to fly. We don't have wings. To have big enough and strong enough wings, we need big and strong enough muscles to flap them. So have big enough muscles, we need to have huge chests and stick out more than a meter. Even if we were shaped to have wings, we couldn't fly unless we change in other ways. For a start, we're too big and heavy. As birds, we need to make our bones hollow to be light enough to fly. Just adding wings wouldn't allow us to fly. We need to change our bodies too. Light, sleek head to fly into the wind. Huge chest muscles to flap wings. Light, hollow legs. Tight, sleek clothes to fly fast. Our shape and size control what we can and can't do. Size and shape. Animals come in lots of different shapes and sizes. Some animals have their size or shape to help them to survive. Camels can store food for long journeys in the desert. A squid can't walk, but its streamlined and flexible shapes help it to swim very well. Giraffes live in the African savanna. They compete for food with other leaf eaters like antelope. The advantage of having a long neck is that a giraffe can reach food that others can't. Tiny pond skaters can walk on water to catch falling insects. Female peacocks want to mate with the biggest and best male they can find. This is so that their babies will be bigger and less likely to be attacked. So most male peacocks have big tails to attract a mate. The male peacock's tail lifts and opens up to attract mate. An amoeba has only one cell. It doesn't have gills, eyes, or anything much. It's so small that it doesn't have to breathe or eat. Enough food and oxygen seep through the cell wall for an amoeba to live. This couldn't work if it got any bigger. Amoebas have to be small to live the way they do. One millerite. An amboia cell wall. An amboia changes shape to capture some food. Food and oxygen seep through the cell wall. By being different sizes and shapes, animals can live together in a habitats. They might even eat different foods, sleep in different places, and live in different parts of the habitat. But they are all the right shape and sizes to live in their special place in their habitat. This, I don't think I have any words to read.
Yes, but you can. I'm giving the other people a time to look at this video.
Why can't insects be dog-sized? Insects have special places in lots of habitats. Their shapes aren't different, but they can't get bigger. This is because insects don't breathe in and out. Air seeps in through the holes called spiracles. It flows round branching tubes and muscles taking the oxygen in the air. The air seeps back out again. Branching tube trachea. Air hole spiracles. A caterpillar. Oxygen can't flow very far from a terrace. Bigger insects couldn't get enough oxygen and would die. This way of breathing limits the size of insects. Even this huge insect to have a thin body so that oxygen can seep all the way inside. Insects are small, which for them is an advantage because they thrive on things larger animals aren't interested in. There are other advantages to being small. Why are ants so strong? It's easier to lift your body weight if you're very light. As animals get bigger, their weight increases much more than their strength. A muscle that is twice the size of another muscle is not twice as strong. Like most insects, ants are mainly made of muscle. Human bodies are full of bones, organs, and brains, lungs. In fact, humans are only about 40% muscle. Leaf-fed ants can lift 50 times their own body weight. The strongest humans can lift even 4 times their own weight. Why can fleas jump so far? Another advantage of being small and light is that you can be shaped to jump a long way. Fleas are the best jumpers on the planet. They can jump 200 times their body length. There are 2 reasons for this. Fleas are almost completely made of muscle. For every gram of weight, there is a lot of muscle to help them jump. Fleas have a spring coiled above their back legs, which helps them to jump. Spring. Spines on the flea's back legs grip the ground for takeoff. Humans are heavier than fleas unless our weight is muscle, so we can't jump very far at all. Why can't elephants jump? Compare a flea with an elephant. A light flea can jump easily. An elephant might just be able to leap over a ditch, but they can't jump upwards. Most animals jump upwards by bending their legs first so that can spring up. An elephant can't do this. Its legs are short, long, and very thick. They're the size and the shape that are carrying huge weight, about the same weight as 80 people. Because of their shape, they can bend enough to make a spring strong enough to jump. Elephants don't need to jump. They can push down trees, travel long distances, and swim. And because they're so big, they don't have many predators. For them, being large is an advantage. Why can't bears live through polar winter and flies can't? When it's cold, being big is also an advantage. Big animals like polar bears can stay warm. There are lots of thick fur to trap heat and are also big enough to carry a thick layer of fat up to 10 centimeters thick under their skin. Flies are too small to carry fat to keep warm, and they have no fur. They get very cold. Many animals have moved to warmer places, but fleas die in the winter cold. Their eggs survive and hatch in the spring. A fly hatching. Caribou escaping the winter cold in Alaska, USA. Why do whales live longer than shrews? Another advantage of being big is that you live longer. Animal, blue whale, length or height of animal, 30 meters long, can expect to live 80 years. Animal, blue whale, African blue whale, 30 meters long, 80 years. African elephant, 3.7 meters tall. 70 years. Monitor lizard, 2.1 meters long, 15 years. Shrew, 5 to 8 centimeters long, 1 to 2 years. Mayfly, 0.5 to 0.8 centimeters long, 30 minutes to 1 day. Big animals tend to live at a slower pace than small ones. An elephant pods slowly, whereas a shrew scurries quickly. An elephant heart beats 30 times a minute, while a shrew's heart beats 800 times per minute. You age with every heartbeat, so a shrew gets old much more quickly than an elephant. Some animals don't follow this rule. Usually there are small animals that move very slowly and have a slow heartbeat. A shrew burns energy so quickly that it has to eat its own body weight every day. Galapagos turtles move slowly and have a slow heartbeat. They can live up to 180 years. What about us? We humans live much longer than we should when you think of our size. A healthy human can expect to live up 90 years longer than a whale. 500,000 years ago, our ancestors lived about 20 years. There are a lot of predators, illnesses, famines, and battles which cut life short. So what changed? Our bodies, especially our brains, adapted over time. We stood up, got bigger, and become cleverer. Adapting to survive better is called evolution. We learned how to make fire, use tools, and talk. We usually lived longer. As well as adapting our bodies, we are the only animal that adapted our habitat. We have invented medicines to keep healthy, clothes, and houses to keep us safe, warm, and dry. All these things have helped us to live longer. We even invented a way to fly. I don't want to read anymore.
Okay, that is fine. Thank you, Rana, for reading. I think you read very fluently. And you also you had a tone in your voice when you were reading, which is great. And I like how you read all the words on the page, especially how you read the captions. Thank you for reading, Rana. James, would you like to read? Okay, you can go ahead and read evolution.
Evolution. Humans aren't the only ones who have adapted over time. The scientist Charles Darwin first said that animals change and adapt to their habitats. When he looked at types of small birds on an isolated island, he found that each had a different shaped beak. They had adapted the size and shape of their beaks so that they didn't compete with each other for food. Each type of pig was adapted for picking up different types of seed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sketch is made by Darwin of different beak shapes in the 1830.
in the 1830s.
1830. Horses were the size of dogs. 55 million years ago, they were small enough to duck and hide in their forest habitat. Over time, the climate changed and the forest became grassland. Horses adapt by becoming bigger so that they could travel faster and over longer distance. A horse 55 million years ago, a horse today. Biologists think the hammerhead shark adapted its head so that its eyes could be far apart. This helps it to work out how far away its prey is. The stick insect's shape is a kind of camouflage. It confuses predators. Some animals have not needed to adapt for a long time. Crocodiles have not changed since Tyrannosaurus Rex lived 65 million years ago. By then, crocodiles had already adapted to their habitat so well that they stopped changing. They had adapted to be strong, fast, and sleek, and they had no predators. A fossil crocodile from 65 million years ago. A crocodile today. Most animals continue to adapt to survive better in their habitat or to fit into a changing habitat. This goes for humans too. As the earth changes around us, we need to evolve and change so that we can be the best size and shape to suit our world.
All right, that is the end of this book. Thank you, James and Rana, for reading this book for us. James, I think you read very clearly, and I liked how you sounded out each word to make sure you read it correctly. So very awesome job, James. That is the end of this book. I hope everyone enjoyed reading this book. This book gives us a lot of information and facts. So it can also teach us that size and shape can benefit animals and us a lot. So here we have the main questions we find in this book and the short summarized answer. So I will quickly read this for us. So this is about size, evolution, and habitat. The first question in this book was why can't humans fly? And the basic answer is that birds are the right size and shape to fly, and humans are not the shape or size to fly. The next question is why can't insects be dog-sized? The answer is the way insects take in oxygen limits their size, so they can't grow bigger. Next is why are ants so strong? And the answer is it's easy for an ant to lift its own body weight because the ant is very light. Next we have why can fleas jump so far? The answer to this question is that fleas are almost completely made of muscle, and they have a spring coiled above their back legs, which can help them jump farther. Next, we have why can't elephants jump? Elephants can't jump because of their shape. Elephants can't bend enough to make a spring strong enough to jump, so they can't jump, and they also don't need to jump. Then we have why do whales live longer than shrews? The answer is because you age with every heartbeat. Small animals' hearts beat very quickly, so they age more quickly than bigger animals. And that is the end of this book. So from this book, we can learn a lot about the right size and shape for every animal. Now I will share my slides again. The next book we are going to read is called The Amazing Adventures of Batbird. This book is a fiction book, and it is about a bird named Duncan Dabble who wants to be like Batbird. Yes. James, did you want to say something? Okay, that's fine. If you want to say something or if you want to read, you can let me know. So this book is about a bird named Duncan Dabble who wants to be like Batbird and save the day. But instead he caused a lot of trouble. But then Duncan becomes a hero by saving his parents from a fox. So let's read this book to see how he saved his parents from a fox. So because we are a little bit short on time and this book is a little bit long, we will still try to read this book. So I will open up this book and we will begin reading. Share my screen. This book is called The Amazing Adventures of Batbird. It is written by James Clark and illustrated by Nick Schoen. So because we are a little bit short on time and this book is a little bit long, as I said earlier, I will read the first few pages. So this book is also ordered by chapters, but it's not as long as a chapter book. So let's read this book. Chapter 1, Super Ducks. Down at Puddletown Pond, Duncan Dabble and his friends were watching Batbird on worldwide water screen TV. Tea time, Mom called. Kerwish, Duncan swirled his Batbird cape around him. Kerquack, he yelled. Kerzoom, he dashed back home to the nest under the willow tree. Batbird is here to save the universe, he announced. That's nice, Mom said, but we don't need saving today. Take a turn sitting on the eggs for a minute, Duncan, and have some tea. I'm not Duncan, said Duncan. I'm Batbird. Super ducks don't stop for tea. Kergala, he grabbed a slug burger and gobbled it down. Kerwish, he swirled his Batbird cape. Kerzoom, Duncan dashed back to the pond. Mr. Dabble settled herself on the eggs with a sigh. At bedtime, Duncan wanted to sleep hanging upside down from the branch of the willow tree like Fatbird. You can try to sleep like that as long as you don't disturb Dad, Mom said. He needs his rest when his new feathers are growing. In the middle of the night, Duncan lost his grip. Curl quack! Duncan crashed to the ground. Ker-dunk! He landed in a heap next to the nest. Ker-wish! His cape swished over his head. Dad woke up and flapped his tatty feathers. Mind the eggs, he yelled. Sorry, Dad. Duncan peered out from under his cape. Put your head under your wing like a good duckling and go to sleep, Duncan, Mom told him. I'm not Duncan, said Duncan. I'm Batbird. Super ducks don't need to sleep. It's hard to live with a super duck, Dad groaned. Chapter 2. Watch out, Fox About. The next day at school was Pond Safety Day. Why must you be careful when you go to the pond? Miss Waddle asked the class. You might get knocked down by a car on the way, said Billy. You might get tangled up in an old fishing line, said Peep. You might get gobbled up by a big fish, said Weebora. Duncan yawned. He couldn't keep his eyes opened. And you might be pounced upon by a fox, Miss Waddle said. She took that morning's copy of the Puddletown Flyer from under her wing and showed the class the front page. It read, Watch out, Fox About. Curz, Duncan snored. The other ducklings gasped. Foxes steal eggs, Bora said. Foxes eat ducklings, said Peep. And some ducks can't fly away because their feathers are changing, Billy added quickly. That's right, said Miss Waddle. At the moment, a lot of your parents are molting, which means they are losing their old feathers and growing new ones, just like me. She rustled her dowdy feathers. The farmer will be after the fox, but the fox might creep up on you. Miss Waddle raised her voice. Watch out, Fox About. Can you hear me, Duncan? I'm not Duncan, yawned Duncan. I'm Batbird. Super ducks aren't afraid of the fox. Even super ducks are afraid sometimes, said Miss Waddle. Not Batbird, Duncan said. He swirled his cape around his shoulders. I will show you how Batbird deals with pond safety. Oh dear, Miss Waddle sighed. All right, so this is chapter 3. Does anyone want to read? All right, Matthew Young, you can read chapter 3. Never fear, Batbird's here.
Never fear, Batbird's here. At playtime, Duncan yelled. Never fear, Batbird's here. Kapow! He knocked Billy over as he pushed him out of the path of Kitty Car. Gorish! His Batbird cape whirled as he twirled Peep around to untangle him from the fish line strangler. Crash! He crashed into Weebora as he plucked her from the jaws of the big fish. Duncan, Miss Waddle said. Don't be so rough with your friends. I'm not Duncan, said Duncan. I'm Batbird. Super ducks have to be rough to save the universe. I'll show you how Batbird will deal with the fox. Duncan swirled his cape around his shoulder and charged. Ow! Yelled Miss Waddle. Billy, Peep, and Weebora was at as they landed in a heap. Mrs. Rattle called Mom, and Duncan was sent home early from school. Mrs. Rattle says I'm too rough, Duncan told Mom and Dad. And Billy, Peep, and Warbara say that they won't play with Blackbird anymore. Oh dear, said Dad. Perhaps it's a good time to stop being a super duck. It's a very bad time to stop being a super duck, Duncan said. There's a fox about. Blackbird has to save the universe. Let the farmer deal with the fox, sighed Dad. If you carry on as Blackbird, you'll lose all your friends, said Mom. Blackbird doesn't need friends, said Duncan. But you do, Duncan, Mom said, giving him a hug. I'm not Duncan, I'm Blackbird, said Duncan. Four. Courage, quack.
Matthew Young. So the time is a little bit tight, and I think all of you really want to finish this book. So I will try my best to quickly read it so we can all finish this book. Chapter 4. Kerwish, Kerquack, Kerdunk. That evening, no one would play with Duncan or even watch Blackbird on TV with him. There was nothing to do but take turns with Mom and Dad sitting on the eggs. The eggs showed no sign of hatching, so they weren't much fun. It's lonely being a super duck, Duncan sighed. If only the fox would turn up. Then I'd show Miss Waddle and everyone. Be careful what you wish for, Dad said. Cheer up, said Mom. You'll feel better after a good night's sleep. Sleep, said Duncan. Super ducks don't sleep when there's a fox about. That bird's going to stay awake all night. Mr. and Mrs. Dabble groaned. That night, Duncan hung upside down from the willow tree. It had been a busy day, and it was hard to keep awake. Mom was sound asleep on the nest, and Dad snoring beside her. Duncan's eyelids began to droop, and he soon fell fast asleep. He was so busy dreaming about Blackbird saving the universe that he didn't hear the rustling in the reed bed beneath him. The moonlight shadow slunk across the nest, a shadow with a bushy tail and sharp fangs. The shadow opened its jaws. Just at the moment, Duncan lost his grip. Kerwish, his cape swerved. Kerquack, he yelled as he fell. Kerdunk, he landed on top of the fox. Blackbird's cape flapped in the fox's eyes. The fox didn't know what had hit him. Ow! The fox howled as he ran away as fast as his legs would carry him. You saved us, Mom and Dad cried. You're a real super duck. And that was a real fox, Duncan gasped. It was really, really dangerous and really, really scary. And Duncan started to shake from the end of his shiny bill to the tip of his tuffy tail. 5. No more Blackbird. At dawn, when everyone met at Puddletown Pond to gobble their Weetabix as usual. What was all that noise about last night? Miss Waddle asked. Blackbird scared away the fox, Mrs. Dabble said proudly. That's right, said Mr. Dabble. Our Duncan is Blackbird, you know. Quack. Duncan's knees were still knocking, but there was something he had to tell them. Everyone stopped dabbling their Weetabix and looked at Duncan. It's hard being Blackbird, Duncan said. A super duck's life is rough and dangerous, and no one wants to play. He took off his cape. I'm going to stop being Blackbird, he announced. Hooray! Miss Waddle, Billy Peep, and Wabora cheered. A few days later, down at Puddletown Pond, Duncan Dabble and his friends were watching a film on Worldwide Water Screen TV. Mom and Dad had brought the new ducklings along to meet everyone. It was hard living with a super duck, Dad said, smoothing back his new feathers. We're glad you're not that bird anymore. You might not be a super duck, said Mom, handing out the pond pops. But we all think you're a super duckling, Duncan. Duncan tore himself away from the film on TV. I'm not Duncan, said Duncan, flatting his puffy top knot. My name's Pond, James Pond. And that is the end of this book. Matthew, I think you read very great earlier. You read very fluently, and you did an excellent job. So because of time, we cannot read the last book. I'm growing a truck in the garden. But that is fine. I hope everyone enjoyed reading today. And I think everyone read very fluently, clearly, and also very loud. And I can see everyone improving on their reading skills. So keep up the great work. Thank you for attending. I hope you all enjoyed reading the books today. And I liked how everyone raised their hands to volunteer to read. Thank you for coming. Does anyone have any questions?